My crew, we're jammed to abandoned buildings. Sees an empty cup, we fill 'em. I keep my circle tight, vibe just right with my six string singing all night. Gender, faith, color, or lover, don't matter one way or other. No complaints from music softer. Thanking God for that, but news dad is a doctor. My crew doesn't quit.
Everybody, welcome to the Eat Growing Concept. Today we are going to talk about a CBCB, carbon-based composting bioreactor, or carbon-based composting bin. I got a lot of dog hair on me because in this new world, I guess we've got to do a lot of stuff ourselves. I tried to set up an appointment for my dog to get her a haircut, but they're not doing haircuts. My dog was in desperate need of a haircut, so I had to do it myself. So I got all dog hair on me. Anyways, I had this. This is the 2020 spring cleanup pile right here. I had this, like typical CBCBs. Once you pack them and add your slurry to it, your temperature within 3 days goes up to 160 degrees. This is consistent. And after the 160s, that will last for 2 weeks, the 160 degrees. And then from there, we keep it above 130. Now, right now, it's just starting to drop again. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fluff it up with this all right here. Fluff all of this up. And I got some liquid slurry downstairs that I'll be adding, and I will continue this heat. The last fall 2019 cleanup, I went 5 months at temperatures over 120, mostly in the red. Now this is good news. I've been trying to get ways to get this heat outside the pile. Very difficult to do. That heat is mostly inside there. And once you try to move it, it's very delicate heat. You lose it quick. I tried a bunch of different things. I got a couple of other ideas I'm going to try to work on to get this heat out of the pile. Now, there's a couple of people doing this stuff. I said in other videos, the Johnson Sioux bioreactor people are doing the same thing, very similar. And I'm going to put a link down below there. These guys got it down. These guys are all educated, of course, college educated, and they're doing a lot of great stuff. What they're trying to do is get the biodiversity back into our soils. And we, as residential people, can do the same darn thing. Just save your leaves, save all your organics, get yourself a worm farm, get yourself a small 4x4, 3 feet high composting freaking bioreactor. This thing heats up and you can get rid of a lot of gross stuff. The beauty about a carbon-based composting bin is it's all carbon. There's no unwanted vermin for the most part. Very difficult for them to get into this 3 pallets with a grate here. Every yard should have a composting bin, in my personal opinion, and I think we as individuals, if we really care about this planet, we got to learn how to make soil. We have to teach our children how to make soil at a very young age. We have to teach them that all our organics are very important, and to just throw them out is ridiculous. And when the world's people understand this, the world is going to be a much better place. You know, this coronavirus thing is kind of scary, isn't it, guys, on a lot of levels. But you know, as a proponent to the Venus Project, Zeitgeist Movement, and a free world charter, this I never thought of could be a way to usher in the new world order. And again, when I talk about the new world order, I'm not talking about it in a religious sense. I'm talking about a new way of how we organize ourselves, how we go back to nature and take care of our planet. And I'm going to put some links to the Venus Project, the Zeitgeist Movement, Free World Charter. Some will say, oh, this is socialism. It's not socialism, guys. And if you think it's socialism, look what capitalism is doing to us when we start trashing this planet. Look, we're all locked into our houses. We all have to listen to the government and what they tell us to do. This is kind of looking like communism to me in a lot of ways. And granted, I have nothing against all of us staying home. Look at how our planet's getting healthier because we're all staying indoors. Imagine if we could all work from home. And, you know, for myself, I've been blessed to be able to work at home, being a urban farmer and teaching urban farming skills. I've been so blessed to be able to do such things. And I want to thank my wife first and foremost for allowing me to do that. Anyway, let's get back to a carbon-based composting bin. I always go rambling on. Anyway, this here is all minced leaves. You run them over with your lawnmower, as I've said in other videos, and this will be ready to be used by, you know, I'll be able to spread this stuff in my flower beds come fall is when they will be. And as you know, if for those of you who have been following me, this is my fall cleanup of 2019. This will be ready by spring. Excuse me as I go all over the place here. This will be ready by spring. And it's right now it's April. And here in New England, we can't start putting stuff in the ground until the mid-May because of because how cold it gets, right? Okay, I wonder if I could set that right up here for now. Of how cold it gets, right? I don't know here. I'm sorry for the bad review. I got 5 minutes. I want to make this a quick video. And I want it to be mostly about carbon-based composting bin, but with my mind, I'm all over the place, as you can tell. That's why I can't really shoot too many videos, because I'm constantly thinking of all kinds of things other than the subject at hand when I'm doing these things. But anyways, I got all my towers built, and all of spring cleanup 2019 is my base, my soil base. And of course, worm castings is all I use. And this is all stuff that I don't go to Lowe's to buy stuff. Everybody's throwing free stuff all around the place. In fact, I need more food scraps to feed my growing red-wigular population. I'm finding it very difficult now that I can't go over to my in-laws to get all their stuff for the most part, because we're supposed to be not socializing as much. We're supposed to be hunkered down in our own houses, which I guess is driving a lot of people crazy. But for myself, I'm psyched to be able to be here. I'm psyched to be able to grow food, guys. That's where the work is going to be in the very near future when I start getting Eve off the ground. I'm going to be my next video is going to be a tower video. I'm going to show you how to make a tower video that easily mimics Tim Blank's tower garden. And I'm doing 55-gallon drums that easily mimics Collins garden tower. Both people inspired me deeply, amongst other people on YouTube that I followed. The Spring Cleanup Pile 2020. And I started it in April. My 2020 Spring Cleanup bin. And of course, like every other bin, it went right up, just like clockwork, went right up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Which, again, that's amazing. It's very consistent. My fall cleanup 2019, I went 5 months at heats over 130. Now what I want to talk about is for all of us who do vermiculture outside. I do mine inside, so I won't be able to experiment with this thought, but if you build a CBCB, I think, especially if your farms are small enough, you put those on top of this pile here. I'm going to experiment next spring with my seedlings. I'm going to be putting, you know, with the Eve growing system, I put my seedlings in an Eve bucket and I never have to water them. Once I put them in the seeds, I pack it and I leave it, and I never have to water these seedlings. They come up and I don't have to worry about them until it's time to stick them in my towers. So next year I'm going to try to put a little greenhouse on top of here. And I'm only saying this now in case you guys want to do this, or if you're way even further north and you're trying to think of a way to do your seedlings outside. I have a feeling this is just one application we could do with the CBCB. As you know, I've been working on trying to get this very delicate heat that's hot inside here, but it's very delicate to get it back out of this composting bin. Somebody's just walking by, and of course my dog's gonna bark. So this CBCB is just an amazing, and I'm going to post this both in my fermenting group and in my CBC group and in my Eve growing group. Mark, why do you have so many Facebook groups? I'll talk about that later in another video, because if I start rambling on that, this video will not be short, but we'll talk about that in other videos. All right, so I'm just going to show you how easy it is. This video I hope is going to be a very quick one. I'm going to show you how I rejuvenate my CBCB. Save your leaves, guys, because leaves, I've used my fall cleanup 2019. I've used those leaves, even though they're not quite the compost I want. I did use them in some of my grow towers, and I think it's going to be some great results. We'll know by the end of the summer how my stuff grows. But I needed some soil, and so I'm using that compost, which it looks pretty darn good, but it could be more complete. I would like it to be more complete, but I used it as a base, and so it's composting still as I grow plants in it. And some may say, well, Mark, the stuff that you compost, what about the pathogens? I have a feeling that the heat killed all the pathogens that I put into mine, because first of all, I let it heat up to 140, and I let it rest for a little bit. And what else can I say about that? And hopefully, there's another thought. If you guys have a thought on this, the plants. Do these pathogens go up through the roots? Because all my towers, of course, none of the leaves lay on the ground, especially with the tomatoes and the cucumbers, because they're all in towers. So nothing's laying on the ground where the compost is. They're all in. So do pathogens go up the roots into the fruit themselves, or the leaves that we're eating? Do they actually go up to there? That's another great question. So we have a lot of safes that help us to stop pathogens to get in our food. One, we're heating our composting up. We're also doing worm castings, which they say worm castings kill pathogens. And do the pathogens go through the plant roots up to the fruits and the leaves? Those are some thoughts, right? And I did do a lot of Googling on that, and there's good pros and cons to each, and every person has to make their own decision on that. And you have to be at least mindful of pathogens. And it may not seem like I am, but I'm always thinking about it all the time. Let's rejuvenate this pile. Thermometer comes out. As you can see here, this is what it looked like there. So you got all kinds of aeration going on in there. And now I'm going to pour some liquid nitrogen on there right now. Of course, I got some on me. That's not fun. Nice. Now, unlike traditional composting where they try to get that heat up by turning the pile, I'm just going to fluff it and kind of aerate it that way. Cover it all up so it doesn't stink. If your pile stinks, you're doing something wrong. This is going to be all the droppings of the oak trees around me. You know, every spring they drop all this stuff. That's all soil. I tell you, when you start to understand carbons and your nitrogens, your browns and your greens, your wets and your dries, everything becomes soil. All right, I got some minced leaves I'm going to add to. Pack it down a little bit. I'm going to add these leaves. This is one of those green bags, dog bags. It says that they're biodegradable. Turns out they did great in my very hot composting bin. This one did fair. I did one with my fermenting, didn't do so good, or with my continuous flow system didn't do so well. But it did do good in here. Add some aeration holes. This spade sucks. I need the Excalibur that's been passed down from my father's father, my grandfather. See, it's too flat at the end there. Put that there. This one. do a total of 9 holes. I'm sweating because I got this hot coat on. It was colder this morning, and now it's warming up quickly. I should take my coat off, but I'm almost done. So that's it. Now, of course, we cover to keep that carbon-nitrogen ratio. Okay, now tomorrow, that heat will be up over, where's my thing? Oh, here it is. It's in the back of the camera. So now, tomorrow, this will be back up. This will be back up to over 140. This is consistent, folks. It's very absolute, and there's many reasons why we want to keep this heat. I'll be showing you this in our Facebook group, our carbon-based composting bin Facebook group. Don't forget, we have an Eve Growing Facebook group that's dedicated to Eve growing, and we have the fermenting Facebook group that's growing like crazy. And what else? Why do I have so many Facebook groups? We'll talk about that in another video. That's basically how I reactivate a CBCB. So I think one secret to containing this heat, to getting this heat out of the pile, of course, is to put it into your greenhouse itself. All right, it's definitely been slow since I fluffed this pile up and added the liquid slurry in the hopes of rejuvenating the pile. But the heat has been slowly rising, and I think once it gets into the red, it'll definitely get there without me touching it again. It's been like 3 days, I think, that I've been waiting. Usually when I activate a brand new pile, usually the heat gets right up there. Within 3 days, I'm up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 weeks, and then it'll stay at like in the 140, 130 range for the next month after that. Then it goes down, I fluff it up, and again, I want it to go into the red, because there's a lot of stuff we can do with this heat in urban settings, right? Again, heat in a shed, greenhouse, an outside animal, and the like. So I'll get back to you when I see it get into the red. I am not going to get this video out until it does, and I promise I won't touch it. I already touched it, and if it doesn't go, that'll be at the end of my video. If it does go, of course, that'll be in the end. You know, sometimes when we do this urban farming thing, we only show the good stuff. There's a lot of downfall to a lot of stuff, but if we showed all the downfall, then nobody would want to join or think that we have anything valuable to talk about. Anyway, the video continues. I'm going to close this video out. It is the end of the day from when I previously took the video, and my temperature is clearly rising. I'll be in the red tomorrow morning. I'll take a picture of that. To close this video out, I'll take a picture of end temperature. But that temperature right now, I got it right back up to, that'll be up into 140 tomorrow morning, I think. So if it isn't, I'll take a picture of it. That's all I have for this video. Save your leaves, folks, because it becomes next year's soil. That's all I have to say for now. God bless. Over and out.
My family and Papa found careness, always somewhere by the fire pit. If your friend and your family had free, if you're foe, then tonight disarm me. My crew has talent and loyalty, and they'll be partying over these royalties. You're damn right. Like my crew doesn't quit.